I got the recording going again. I'm gonna preface this part of it and probably edit it to the front later. The hard drive on the laptop I'm recording on is, I don't know, breaking or something. I deleted 50 gigs off of it. It had like 200 when I started recording, and it still says I have no storage. So, I apologize if this video is completely choppy and large portions are missing. This does not normally happen. Clearly, I need to clear my computer or reset it or something. So, yeah. Anyway, continue. Hello.
Hey, just
Morning. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
yeah,
How is everyone today? You ate cat food by accident. Oh no.
yeah. How do you eat cat food by accident?
Was it like tuna flavor and you were trying to make tuna salad and you just like grabbed the wrong can?
Eating cat food on purpose. It's even worse than an accident.
Catastrophe. Uh,
Boo. Boo.
hilarious. All right. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is the Q&A for Super City, made by Locomotion Devs, of course. Feel free to ask any questions you have.
Should we do introductions first?
Oh yeah, sure. You can go first.
Yeah. Well, hi everyone. I'm Rory. I'm both the lead programmer of Super City and Elements, but I also run the business side of the company. So yeah, um, happy to be here, and I'm also happy to answer any questions you have about the game, the design, the abilities, the programming, any of that.
All right. Hi, I'm Mac and Meow, but you can just call me Mac. I am the operations manager for Locomotion Devs, which means I do a lot of things and I wear a lot of hats because our company's pretty small, but I help with game design, some art stuff. I manage the communities and social media and all of that. Um, I do everything that's not programming. I don't know how to code. But yeah, so our company Locomotion Devs, as Rory said, we make Elements in Super City, and we also made Superfly a number of years ago. I have a few questions. All right, so has anyone on Europe seen the Fire Mafia clan? And then in parentheses FM. Can't. Well, I'm not in Europe, but I can't say I'm particularly familiar with the Fire Mafia clan, so I'm not necessarily surprised something like that would exist. Um, can we know the date of the release more than just spring? We will be reviewing that pretty soon. We're going to be doing a pre-order for Super City, and once that's out, you will know the date at that point, and I will announce it in the Discord and all of that too.
Can we at least say the month?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah. So can confirm April. Unless something goes catastrophically wrong, Super City will be live and available for everyone next month.
Yep. Can I call you Macaroni? That's if you really want to, you can. That's what the MAC stands for, is macaroni. I should clarify, Mac is not my like legal name. It's just the name I use online. I'm not legally called macaroni, although that'd be kind of funny.
You should change your name to that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Do you plan on having combo moves? An example being giant congrats players to either throw them at targets, NPC, or enemy players.
So, combos with other players is something that I want to allow, but unlike elements, we are more restricted in the physics here. It uses a kind of different physics library, a different networking library, to get better performance and to let you have more people in a lobby in a bigger world. But the cost of that is you can't have super detailed physical interactions with other players. The lag is just a little bit too much for very detailed physics. So combos that don't require detailed physics, yeah, those will exist. But something like grabbing another player requires a little bit too much physics to really be practical.
Yeah, there you go. I think it's fair you have one hat you don't wear. Yeah, you can't do everything. What other powers are planned?
Lots of powers. So I have a whole document that's full of ideas, and there's like 50 different power ideas in the document already, but I'm always looking for more. The idea is that once the game releases, we want to have a new power coming out every week. And that's a lot of powers. So I think once the game's been out for a few months, there's just going to be a huge number of different powers in the game. I can't give you an exact list of what powers those will be, because I haven't really personally decided yet. I actually want to hear from all of you guys what your preferred powers would be. Please let me know what you want to see in the game. And yeah, I want to kind of orient the development around that.
Will there be an underwater zone in Super City?
Nope. And John, I know why you're asking that. Get out of here.
John, for context, John was one of the developers on Superfly. How do I join the playtest? Yeah, so that'll open in a couple of hours here. You'll be able to apply in the hashtag join the beta channel, where you should also be able to see a timestamp of when it'll open up. We do kind of a weekend only playtest type thing. So you just apply and then we let you in and you play for the weekend. And then on Monday we clear everyone out and do it again the next weekend. Was Super City going to be free? If not, what range could we expect? Super City is free to play. There will also be in-app purchases for cosmetics and if you want to get powers faster and that kind of thing. But you can also earn the in-game currency by playing the game. Will Super City be on Steam? Currently, no. There are not plans to put it on Steam. Context as to why, 90 to 95% of the VR market is on standalone Quest. So while Superfly and Elements Divided are both on Steam, we found it's a lot of work to keep up two versions. And ultimately, there's just not a lot of players over there. And we're not really it's not like worth it to keep up two versions right now. That could change if the Steam frame releases and it just does really well, but we don't even know when that's coming out at this point. So,
Or if Super City gets really successful, then even 5 to 10% of people on Steam, if we have a lot of people interested, would make it worth it. But we're kind of waiting and seeing and starting on the most important platform first.
yeah. And if you think about it this way, like on Quest, all we have to support is the 3 and the 3S. They have like the same controllers and fairly similar hardware. On Steam, you have to support every headset and every controller. And then that becomes a little bit more complicated. It's not it's not, not doable, but it definitely becomes more complicated. And you run into more bugs and stuff. I'm way behind on some of the stuff you guys been talking about. What are the main differences between heroes and villains? It's whatever's in your heart.
But to expand on that a bit, we're adding a PvP mode to the playtest today. And the PvP mode is a heroes team versus a villains team. Those are just the names of the teams. The heroes and the villains don't currently have any different mechanics. If that's something that people want, and like heroes and villains do have very... so, if people do want heroes and villains to have very different mechanics and kind of an asymmetric PvP instead of a symmetric PvP, then that's something that we could add on later. But want to try the symmetric version first.
But how do playtests work? Yeah, so basically once you apply, we look at your application, and if you meet all the right things, answer all the questions right, like yes, you have the right headset, and yes, you're able to get feedback and that kind of thing. Then we click approve on our end, and then it has you you receive a DM back from the bot that you DM'd to apply, and it'll say, "Hey, you've been accepted. Here's a MetaQuest link." You click on that link, it allows you to join what's called a release channel, and then you have access to the game. It just starts showing up in your library. Easy peasy. And as for like, what do you do in a playtest? Basically, all we ask is just play the game. We'll put out a new feedback thread every playtest and ping you in and be like, hey, please leave your feedback here. Anything helps. And if you run into any bugs, there's a bugs forum you get access to. And yeah, it's fairly open-ended. You kind of do what you want. We're not going to ask you like, okay, make sure you do X, Y, Z task. We just want to see how you're going to play the game. Oh, I should have charged my headset so that I could sign up to test. Well, lucky for you, the application is in Discord. So you don't have to charge your headset right this second. I mean, you could. But yeah, you can play anytime this weekend if you get in.
I'd start charging it now, though, because the playtest is going to be in a few hours, so it should give you time for one charge to full if you get on it immediately.
Do you anticipate Steam Frame causing any market shift? Also from John. I like how John's going to have like the more businessy people questions, and then the actual players are like, hey, can I play the game and is it fun? I don't know what to expect with the Steam Frame. I hope it causes a bit of a market shift, because I think that's beneficial for everyone, that MetaQuest does not just have the monopoly on the VR market. But I couldn't really say for sure, especially with all the RAM shortages. They're having a hard time even getting the headset out, and even once they do, how much stock are they going to have? Rory, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think Steam Frame is going to take over the market. I'm guessing it's going to cost like twice as much, or maybe even 3 times as much as a Quest headset. So there's going to be a lot more people with Quest headsets than the Steam Frame. So there's going to be a lot more people buying games that are really designed for Quest than games that are designed for Steam Frame. Maybe it'll cause a smaller shift by making it more feasible to like build games around the Steam Frame, especially if it gets really popular. But I'm not predicting too much.
Yep. Will this game be more open world or more arena based like Elements? Definitely open world. There right now are no arenas. This is very important. You must respond. Is the elk responding to himself saying hi? Hi, elk.
Hello.
You should add a power that gives the character legs, so you don't have to use G-tag movement. Fun fact, in the pause menu, you can already select joystick movement. Don't have to use G-tag movement if you don't want to. And does it make your legs... Oh, and we'll have a jump button now, which we didn't have before because we're experienced developers. When you use joystick mode, does it make your legs not floppy anymore, or are they still floppy and you're moving around?
I believe they are still floppy. Let me actually add that to the Trello board.
Should probably fix that. They'll look a little funky, but it'll work.
Not be floppy with joystick movement. Okay.
Are you going to add buildings that you can go into and like rob a bank? And are you going to add where you can destroy buildings? That's two questions.
Yeah.
Entering buildings? I feel like that's unlikely, right?
Unlikely, yeah. Entering is more doable than destroying. We could make maybe a special building with a lobby area you could enter and do a mission in that lobby, or maybe a courtyard area where you can do a mission. Um, Adding missions is hard, and it's especially hard because uh, the missions have to be replayable, something that's fun to do over and over again, because we just don't have enough people on the team to add 1,000 different missions. So, yeah, I would appreciate if anyone had ideas for how to make missions that are fun to play over and over again without getting boring. Because, yeah, it could be very cool. Destructible buildings, probably not. It might be possible. Superfly did have some destructible buildings at the very end. Uh, but it's a big challenge for performance, and especially in multiplayer. And it's not going to be like a normal building that's destructible. It would have to be a special building that's built out of destructible parts that you could destroy. So, yeah, probably not going to happen. However, people should know all of the objects that you see in the world are destructible. So while the buildings themselves aren't, anything that's on top of the building or anything that's in a park or any car driving down the road is fully destructible.
And this time we actually have pedestrians.
Mm-hmm. Somehow.
Yeah. Um, it could be cool to have a heroes versus villains thing where the heroes try to save citizens that villains are guarding.
Mhm.
Yeah, could be potentially interesting. That might be a mission thing that's possible. I don't know.
Yeah, it could even go the other way around. Maybe the villains are like trying to steal a diamond that the heroes are guarding.
Mm.
We want to try
For
the
the first,
symmetric PvP first, but then, yeah, based on how well that goes, we'll, make plans from there based on the feedback.
yeah. For the first week of the game being out, you should give an OG cosmic. I think you meant cosmetic. OG cosmetic for everyone. It would be cool, like cape that has OG on it. I think we do have not quite that, but I believe our character artist did make a beta cosmetic that we'll give out after. So if you want a chance to do that, you should join beta tests if you want a chance to get that exclusive beta cosmetic. Are you adding colors for powers, like how fire has blue fire?
That would like let you attack better. Could be interesting.
Will there be mini games throughout the map?
So maybe there aren't really any mini games right now because we're focused on the core game fight of destroying things, fighting the enemies, flying around, so on. And I don't want to do anything that takes you away from just being able to fire in the city and do things. So I think the form that minigames would take is probably like extra stuff that's also in the city. So if you fly up to those new kinds of objects, then you could have new fun interactions with them. But they wouldn't be like a separate game mode. They would just be a new cool thing you can do while in the same city. And if you have suggestions for what those things would be, I'd love to hear them.
Mm. How's the weather? And
Pretty sunny.
then something about weather manipulation powers.
Yeah. Right now we have a weather manipulation machine in the hub area that lets you change the weather. Not sure what a power for weather manipulation would do exactly. Maybe that'd be like the tornado one. You could use it to fly around in the air.
An idea where you can shrink down for a power.
Hmm. Yeah. Excuse me. We had that in
Ant-Man
Superfly.
ability.
Yeah. Um, don't think it was ever super popular in Superfly because like when you're shrunk down, like that kind of makes you weaker and a little bit harder to move around and do things. So yeah. If it was a movement power itself, it wouldn't really be able to be combined with other movement powers. So some things to figure out there.
Are you adding abilities for powers, or will powers just have one ability?
The idea is that each power is an ability. So to switch to a different ability, that's just the same as switching to a different power. But you can switch between powers at any time with the power wheel.
What about a barrier power? Maybe pushing yourself with barriers for movement, or yeah, for movement and making platforms, or throwing them as an attack.
Yeah, that sounds fun. It reminds me of the boulder power a little bit, but I guess instead of making solid boulders, you're making more like semi-transparent barrier or force field type objects.
An
Yeah,
Eve from Invincible kind of power.
yeah. Let me add that one to the list. Um, force field barrier power.
Werewolf power, maybe a combo ability for claws as damage, and then higher jumps and movement speed buff as the movement aspect.
Hmm. We did have a claws power on the list, so I'm imagining maybe that and one of the upgrades could make you a little bit bigger. And yeah, it would have jumping built into it. And then you could combine that attack power with like the giant movement power, and then you could be a giant with claws if you wanted to go that route.
Game mode where there's a kaiju player, and then the other team is trying to kill the kaiju before. Wait, okay. Each team has a kaiju player? Sorry. Try to kill the enemy kaiju before they kill yours, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting game mode. Another version that we had been thinking about is it's just everyone in the lobby against one player who's the kaiju. Excuse me. Yeah. Um, we've tried poking at adding kaijus a few times now, and there's always a few kind of details that come up. If you make the kaiju really, really big, enough to be super threatening, it actually gets so big that it can't fit between buildings anymore. So then it's like, okay, I'm really big, but I can't get anywhere because I'm stuck between all the buildings. So we're thinking, okay, we could maybe add a kaiju boss in the ocean, where now it's not going to get stuck in the buildings. Or we could have smaller kaijus that are maybe similar in size to the player when you're in the giant power. Then it's not quite as threatening, but it would still work. Um, yeah, kaijus are very on brand, and they would be fun to add. But there's some challenges.
Will you let me throw other players? I know this has been answered, but I need this.
I wish that I could add that, but no, it's not going to really work with the physics engine here. If I tried to add it, it would feel glitchy and laggy, either for the person doing the throw or for the person getting thrown. And I don't think that a throw that feels glitchy and laggy is something that's good for the game overall. I wish I could add a better version, but I just don't think I can with the physics engine.
What if you had side effects for overusing a power, like overusing telekinesis makes you glitch around randomly?
I'm actually not sure side effects are good for the game overall. It's about being a superhero, and adding punishment for using the cool power that you have might make the game a little bit less fun. You have the power, you should be able to use it.
How many abilities are you planning to add?
A new power every week. So that is going to be just however long we can keep working on the game. As long as it's financially successful, we'll be adding more and more powers. There's not really an upper limit. It's really easy to come up with more ideas.
What about a silence option or nullification zone effect where nearby heroes and villains' abilities are stopped for 10 seconds or so to force people into normal hand-to-hand?
Yeah, that could be fun. And then if you use it on an enemy, maybe it disables the enemy's attacks for a bit. I'll add that to the list. Our nullification field. We recently added kind of a paralysis system for upgrades. That'll be in the playtest today. So the power nullification could be a little bit similar to that paralysis.
Are you going to add different ways to obtain a power rather than it just being in the shop, like boss fights or secret ways to get one?
Unfortunately, probably not, at least not initially. We have to make money somehow. And with this being a free to play game, the best way that we think that we can make money off of it is by selling access to the powers. We give a bunch of them away for free. We give you a bunch of free gold to start off with and more every time you find a diamond. But to get all of the powers immediately, having to spend money does sound like it's fair for a free to play game. Adding a lot of ways to get powers for free other than that, while it'd be cool for the game, would mess up the only way we could actually get paid to keep developing it.
Will you add redacted as a game mode, that one game US test before sub elements? What Elk is referring to is the earliest prototype version of Super City, which was called Spider City, and had a tag mode, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But part of the reason it worked is because there's only one movement mode you could use. Imagine trying to do tag between the giant mode and the thrusters mode. The thrusters mode could just fly up and the giant mode could never reach them. So if we did add a tag mode to Super City, it would either be very unbalanced. Maybe that's fine. Not everything has to be balanced. Or it would be limited to only certain movement powers. If that's something that you really want to see and you're okay with the restriction either way, let me know.
Can you combine superpowers, like have a movement power along with attack power, or do you just choose one and stick with it until you change power for a different one? Yeah, you can pick one movement and one attack. It's not necessarily that they're like combined, force combined set. So you can have boulder and giant. You don't have to have boulder and I don't know what its other equivalent would be, but you get the point. Or you could have giant and rockets. What about a Pied Piper ability, like a musical bard ability that makes citizens fight for you, like hypnosis?
So there are some technical restrictions there. We can't have too many objects that you control at once, or the game starts to slow down. That's why the necromancy power is limited to 2 or 3 ghosts that you can summon at a time. Because if there was a lobby full of people using that power, and everyone summoned the max number of ghosts, then the game would start to lag pretty heavily. So if there was like a Pied Piper or hypnosis power, it would also have that limit to the number of people you could control at once. Then to make it balanced, you would somehow have to let the people you control fly and follow you. So I guess you're hypnotizing them and then also giving them a jetpack. Huh. It's interesting though. We'll add that to the list.
Someone says, wow, that's like 12 powers a month. I'm not sure how 1 power a week would be 12 a month. You might want to check your math there.
It's more like 4 powers a month.
Yeah. Will there be destructible environments added, allowing the landscape to reflect battles? Adding a mode about destructions could help kaiju not get stuck. They could destroy where rocks. We answered this a little bit earlier, but probably not because lag and performance. Pretty hard to make destructible buildings and the game still run.
And
Someone
to
did say, like,
clarify,
what if
we
it
have
just
a
didn't
lot
have
of-
any animations? But even then, I don't know.
Yeah. We can do destructible small objects pretty easily, and like every small object in the game is already destructible. But what we can't really do in a way that's efficient is destructible buildings, just because of the technical nature of how the buildings are like done in the graphics of the code. So, yeah, a kaiju power would absolutely let you destroy all the small objects you run into, but the buildings is a big technical challenge.
Dr. Turtle says, wait, is there not a suggestion channel? There is one for beta testers, which you are one. It's the beta feedback channel. We put suggestions in there.
And we were going to open a general one when the game releases, right?
Yeah, when the game actually comes out, there will be like an Elements channel labeled suggestions, which is what we did with Elements too. Once it actually came out, then we put a suggestions channel up. My hesitancy for not doing so now is because a lot of people join and then they'll be like, yeah, you should add rockets, and be like, the game already has rockets locked, close suggestion. So it's just a lot easier if people already have the game capped before trying to leave a bunch of suggestions. Not that you can't have good ideas, it just might be a lot of redundant stuff. Tag could be power locked, like a tag game mode would be forced to be web slinger or forced to be thrusters or whatever. I guess you could do that, but I'm not sure the functional way to start that, because right now it's not Elements. There are no like start a game things. It's just kind of an open world, so that might be kind of complicated in that regard. But also, that might not be very fun. It's like, yeah, okay, you can play tag only with web slinger, and then people go, well, why don't you use the other powers in tag? I don't know. Echolocation power. You have limited vision, but every few seconds a ping goes off that shows the surroundings as well as everyone nearby, regardless of the cover.
That could be fun.
About monetization, would it be possible to get a real sponsorship from a company or game that could be displayed on in-game billboards or banners?
Maybe. Meta does have a policy where they don't like people putting ads in games. I think for good reason. Ads are not something that I really want to fill Super City with. But if Meta approved of it and it was done in like a way that was respectful to the overall game, then I could see it fitting, because it does really fit the game's setting, and a city should be full of billboards with ads on them. And it's weird to have billboards that aren't ads.
We do kind of something like this ourselves with our own games. We actually added billboards for Superfly and for Elements, but that's also because there are games we own the art and the games, and it gets a little bit more complicated if you try involving other third-party companies, especially ones that are not related to MetaQuest games. Like if you had a soda company or something reach out, then it gets more complicated. What would be the capacity for a lobby as far as multiple people fighting against each other on teams? 10v10 heroes versus villains, 20v20?
Currently 10v10 is the limit. And I think above that I'm worried about performance, but we could try it.
Question for Rory from me. With the new PvP mode, is there a limit of 10 per team, or could you have 19 on one and one on the other?
You could have 19 on one and one on the other. And that would actually be really funny. I would play that.
Somebody's got to do that. Will NPCs have blood effects? Right now, no. Not sure we would add that.
Yeah, we're kind of inspired by the Lego games, if you played any of those. They have characters that you can attack and destroy, but it's very cartoony and people just break into chunks when you destroy them. It helps keep the game feel, I guess, friendly and fun and, more casual than serious.
Murderous and dark. It's Superman, not Batman. And also, you start adding things like semi-realistic blood effects coming from NPCs, then you have to start answering some questions a little bit differently on the game ratings. and I don't think we really want the game to be rated higher if we don't have to. Elements kind of gets away with it because technically you yourself are not bleeding. It's just kind of red water. But if you start making NPCs that then explode into a puddle of blood, yeah. Can you add exchanging insurance for when I accidentally break someone's car?
Can do that already.
Yeah. You're talking about cars, lampposts, etc. being destructible, then like a strength power that allows you to throw those as projectiles. Yeah, cars, lampposts, and whatever are destructible. And you can throw them around with the telekinesis power. And can you throw them around with giant? You can pick them up, right?
You can't do that yet. That is something that I want to.
No. Like, you can use telekinesis though. How do you feel about traversal power that is just a car? Like what you just
Yes.
anamorph
I'm
into
down.
a car? Okay.
Don't worry about the details, just the car. It'll be fun.
Will any racing be in the game?
Maybe. So you can kind of race people already. Just pick a start point, pick an end point, and race them there. A game mode that does racing on top of that would have to like justify, what is it really adding that you can't do already? But it's something that we've thought about. And yeah, if you have suggestions for what you really need out of a racing game mode that you can't do in the current game, I'd love to hear that.
Light power, temporarily blind the opponent IRL. You can already kind of do that with the lasers. If you just shoot them in people's eyes, it's pretty bad.
One of the other developers on the team always does that whenever we play test it. He's evil.
Yeah. Ghost Tabor has ads for multiple games for Breachers, Forefront, and more. I don't know what other games the company behind Ghost Tabor makes. It's possible they also make Breachers and Forefront. I'm not sure.
Pretty sure Breachers and Forefront at least are the same group. I don't remember if Ghost of Tabor was them or not.
So I guess either they know the company or they are the company, in which case the same thing we're doing with Superfly and Elements. We make the game so we can advertise them however we want generally. Daredevil powers where you are blind. We just turn off the headset and turn off the display. You can still hear things.
That'd be fun.
What about a vampiric ability for damage that might restore some health?
Sorry, my cat is being distracting. What was the question?
Vampiric ability where you heal from damage to other people, like you damage people and heal from it. Omnivamp.
Yeah, I could see that being a good upgrade to apply into a power. I'm wondering though, how would the vampiric power actually deal damage? Is it like melee attacks or ranged blood controlling attacks? Yeah.
Rubber bending when Sigh, I guess I'll make a suggestion on rubber pensive emoji.
Please do. I want to have stretchy grapple arms as a new movement power, but there are some open questions as to like how is using them to move different than using like the web shot power to move? How do you want the physics to feel different or similar or better or worse?
I'd love to see a gravity-based power implemented, allowing the user to walk on walks, alter direction, although it might be difficult to implement. Walk on walks, walk on water, walk on. I'm not sure what you were trying to say there.
I assume walk on walls for gravity control.
Walls, walk on walls. Yeah. Can Super Speed already do that?
Super speed can run up walls, but it's a bit different than gravity control that would like make the wall be your floor. I actually experimented with a gravity control power for Superfly back in the day. It wasn't as fun as it sounded, unfortunately.
I think it's one of those things where like I've seen people make suggestions for Superfly that was like add a backflip thing. We're like, yeah, we tried that. It's not as good as you would think.
Yeah. Backflips are okay, I think, but the gravity control I had that kind of changed your direction of down constantly was even worse than backflips. And
Yeah.
I really wanted to add it. It was inspired by book series I like called Stormlight Archive and how they had a flying mechanic in that, but I just couldn't figure out a way to make it feel right and not be like disorienting or annoying.
Mm. Uh, Just wondering if you could potentially add cosmetics that could be paid for, something small like changing the color of fireballs or different particles or variants that are just cosmetics for certain powers.
If that's something that a lot of people want, I'm happy to add it. I was prioritizing just adding more powers for now before I add cosmetics for powers. But yeah, if you and a bunch of other people really want the cosmetics, that could be arranged.
Can I drive the cars?
Only if we add a car power, which does sound fun.
Could a person elect against a damage power to choose instead an ability that heals themselves or other players that want a white mage build?
That sounds interesting. The hot dog beam does a little bit of that right now, but I think it'd be fun to go even more down that direction. I'll add it to the list. Just a healing power.
Creatures in Forefront are not owned by Ghost of Tabor. Okay, so either they just happen to know each other, or they could have a similar publisher but not the same developer. Maybe they're just friends. I don't know. There's definitely a lot of VR developers in the community that do know each other and cross-advertise games and stuff. Like at one point there were ads for Elements in Mannequin because we have the same publisher, and I think we were gonna add an ad for Elements in Project Demigod, but I think that maybe never ended up working out. And we don't
Yeah.
make Demigod. We just happen to know the guy.
I think it'd be fun to add just little Easter eggs that reference a bunch of other VR games from developers we're friends with into Super City. Put up billboards with all of the cool art they have. We need to ask them for permission, but if they're all right with it, then yeah, totally put that in.
I don't think two similar powers have to actually be different. Sometimes just having reskinned powers is okay. Stretchy arms and webs can be the same.
Maybe, but I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Because a web and a stretchy arm, I wouldn't quite expect them to behave the same. A stretchy arm I'd maybe expect to be a little bit more like the water tentacles and elements than the web swingers, or maybe like some mix between the two. Yeah. And it could work by putting them the same, and being exactly the same might be fine, but yeah. Why not make them slightly different?
There's some sort of discussion about Bible verses, what card Jesus would own, and that it would be in the court. I don't know where it's going.
I don't think I'm enough of a religious authority to know what car Jesus would have driven.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the lighting situation, or if there would be a dynamic day-night cycle, but perhaps a movement ability to teleport through shadows.
We do have a dynamic day-night cycle. Which one's am I most excited to add? Definitely an ice trail for movement. I think that'll be something that'll be great to add. The ice trail is just great in both Superfly and Elements, so why not bring it here too? As for attacks, one that I'm looking forward to is just gun. It's a simple power as an attack, but it would be a lot of fun to use for how simple it is. Great. Would an electricity-based movement ability be possible? Yeah, that's on the list. I was imagining it would work similarly to the lightning dash power in Superfly, if you're familiar with that. Note from Bob saying, can you check my suggestions when you have time, please? Of course. We look through all of the suggestions that everyone leaves in like the bug reports and the beta feedback and so on. Really appreciate everyone's suggestions there. and we read them all. I don't always personally respond to them all because I have to also program the game and handle the design and a lot of other things at once. But like, I definitely read everything because it's just a lot of great ideas. Yeah, I'm seeing some older notes about shadow constructs or like light beams or light bending you can ride along. Those are all interesting. Question: how many people are on the team making Super City? There are 5 of us total. So there's me, there's Mac, there's another programmer, and then there's a character artist, and then there's a level and VFX artist. Uh, how's the recording coming?
Well, I mean, it's recording, but it's like there's some kind of weird memory leak or something.
Huh. That's weird.
Because I checked the storage on this computer because I'm recording it on a second computer before we started, and it was like, oh yeah, you've got like 100 gigabytes. I'm like, great, should not be a problem. And then it stopped itself after, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. Like, what do you mean you're out of storage? And the video file's not even that big. I mean, it doesn't matter that much. It's just, I'm gonna keep trying to record it, but at some point I'm just not gonna be able to anymore. Um, what powers do you like the most, and which are you the most excited to add? Um, I like the hot dog beam. As for excited to add, I mean, I don't program. There's a lot of things I think would be cool to have, but I guess I would like to see, either Ice Trail come back or like Tornado come back or something like that because those are always fun.
Seeing a note of someone saying, yeah, portals are cooler than teleportation. They're both on the list. Definitely like to add both of them. But yeah, which one is first is the question. I'm curious what people would think of having like, I don't know how to put this, but like a suggestion or feedback or poll thing that's not just for suggesting powers, but maybe also voting for which ones you want to see sooner. I wouldn't be able to promise to always follow those votes though, because sometimes I implement powers and they just don't work out. Um, but yeah, how would be the best way to organize that? Because polls are easy to do and to respond to, but like that's kind of a one-time thing. Well, this is like new powers are coming out constantly.
Power suggestion, make a thread, maybe.
Um, or if we had like a power suggestion forum, and then people could like leave thumbs up on the ones that they want to see the most.
Yeah, that would be potentially a good idea.
It's like a general suggestions thread forum might make more sense, but at the same time, powers are like something that we're going to have a lot of ideas for, so maybe a space for them specifically would be cool.
This question more refers to Discord server, but is there limited space for the beta? I'd love to follow the development closely, but I don't want to take up space that could be potentially used by someone who already has a MetaQuest. Well, right now you can only join the actual play the game beta if you have a Quest 3 or 3S, because there is no PCVR version and it doesn't work on Quest 2. It doesn't perform well enough. As for slots in general, we as I would call it, rotate it every weekend. If you do have a Quest 3 or 3S, you could just join on or try to join, apply on the weekends to are available and not on others. So then someone else can get the slot. once you become beta at least once, you get access to the feedback channels, and that doesn't go away. You can still leave feedback throughout the week or whatever. As for otherwise following the development, if you don't have a 3 or 3S, or don't have time to play or whatever, we post some stuff in our Super City channel and their general channel and whatever, asking about things sometimes. Yeah, potentially I could make the patch notes channel read only for everyone, so you could see what the most recent updates were, even if you can't play them. I could look into it if it's something you want. Um, vehicles we can drive. Yeah, we should add a car power. That's what people keep saying. Maybe a blood power. Go play Elements. Wait, hold on. You have the LD tag. You already play Elements. Go play Elements.
Yeah, a bunch of the Elements' blood abilities were inspired by that character specifically.
An idea to add variety to the city, to have the area kind of look like Gotham City, with it looking rundown, darker, and rougher. Perhaps a clean city like Metropolis, divided by a river, kind of like the Lego Batman games for reference. Changing the time of day / weather can really alter the environment. It would be possible to add snow, rain puddles, and something like fog.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think it'd be fun to have part of the city be like a really bright, fancy neighborhood, and part of it look run down and darker. We already have changing time of day. We already have changing weather. We already have snow effects and rain effects and fog effects. But on top of that, we could add like snow that builds up on the ground or rain puddles that build up on the ground. Those would be nice things to go along with the weather effects.
I hate how the quests are just potatoes, but there really isn't much space to add powerful components. Yes and no. I feel like there's got to be ways to make them a little bit more powerful than they are now, without adding too much in terms of size. But I'm also not a hardware developer. Maybe you can't. I don't know. They get better and better
I mean, the
with
Quest
each.
headset. I thought you were talking about the in-game quests, and I was very confused.
No. The headset quests are potatoes because they're bad. They get better with each new iteration, and from what I know, MetaQuest is in fact working on a new headset, but no idea when it would be announced or released, and it probably still wouldn't be that much more powerful. Yeah, it's unfortunate because it does add a lot of limitations. What about an ability that keeps track of NPCs or player kills that allows you to get bigger or deal more damage with a cap until you die?
Okay, but what if we did the same thing without a cap?
Oh no.
I think that would be fun. Maybe that'd be like an upgrade on top of an existing power. Be fun.
Going back to quests or potatoes thing. Well, the thing is, even if you add those powerful components, you also have to fit the other components, and then the headset will become heavier. Yeah, I just wonder how much they're striking the balance right now versus what maybe could actually be done by just making it 30 grams heavier or whatever. Also, if you've seen like some of the battery power straps that you can get like third party, and maybe Meta even has one first party, I'm not sure. You could put some of that weight in the back to distribute it better. Like there are ways. It's just striking the right balance, and I don't know, maybe Meta has, and it would be a lot worse if we tried to put things and move them around weirdly. I don't know. Give the gun power a shotgun mode.
Sure.
Slashing / cleave type powers would be sick. I wonder how much you'd actually get to use something that melee, because you'd have to be pretty close to someone.
Yeah. If I think I know what they're talking about, based on like Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen, it would probably be more effective at range. Thing is, I haven't read the full manga there, so I've only seen what's been out in part of the anime. So if someone would be able to write up a description of the power you want to see while avoiding spoilers for the rest of the manga, that would be greatly appreciated.
I think a good ability being the ability that allows you to change the weather and have attacks based on it. Snow, AoE, tornadoes, and lightning based on whatever the current weather is.
Would be neat. It would probably have to be limited changes because there's a lot of different weathers in the game. But it'd be fun.
Will there be PvP specific areas, or will you potentially be playing a mission and risk getting killed by another player? Yeah, so the new PvP update, which is going to be in 24 minutes, it allows you to basically, there's now a new board that's in like the main little hub platform that you spawn on, and you can pick either the hero or villain teams. There's no functional difference between them, just flavor text, other than you'll be fighting the people on the opposite team. But there's also a third one that is just neutral. If you don't want to do PvP, you don't have to click into either team, and then you can just play sandbox, co-op, whatever. You can also click back onto it at any time by going back to the main hub platform. So if you do PvP and then you're like, everyone in this lobby's trolling, this is terrible, you can just click back to neutral and then people can't kill you anymore. Speaking of 24, now 20-30 minutes till update. Is there anything we want to show about the new update before that?
I mean, we could show off the PvP. We could show off some of the new Tier 3 upgrades. But people will have a chance to try them out immediately. So, yeah, it's kind of up to the audience. If you have questions to ask, then, go ahead and ask them. If you'd rather see a demo of something, let us know.
Speaking of demos and updates and stuff, Rory, did you put out patch notes for the beta testers for the most recent
No, I haven't
update?
done that yet.
Okay. Should probably do that.
Yep.
Give me a power with a gambling component. Chance-based power.
Everyone wants gambling. Why?
Let's go gambling.
Don't need more gambling. I'll start writing up the patch notes. Let me know if there are any more questions.
Why would we not like gambling?
There are a bunch of games that use gambling as a way to get people addicted or to abuse that addiction. And that's not something I can support. There are places where it can be benign, but it's also something that's very dangerous to some people. So I don't want to be ever a developer that encourages gambling addictions or anything close to that. But that's more like when it comes to gambling for real money. Something like using a power with a random component is not gambling with real money. So that would be totally fine.
Will more powers, when more powers are released for purchase later on, will the cost all be the same, or will more powerful powers cost more? Curious if there are any plans on adding more powerful abilities, like making expanding black hole, perhaps attack that's like a massive, huge energy blast or explosion.
The current plan is to keep the costs the same for every power, and to keep all the powers roughly as strong as each other. While ultimate powers like that, like a black hole or a massive energy blast, sound really cool, the problem is that if we make them too strong, then you eventually stop using all of the other powers. Because why would you ever choose to use a power that's a lot weaker than some of the options that you do have? So that's a weird situation where by adding more options, we're actually reducing the amount of variety that's in the game if these new options make all of the old options obsolete. I don't want to ever make the old powers obsolete.
I like that avoiding pay to win because of the meta, quote unquote.
I can't see the text right now. Are there other questions?
Um, what about a poison ability that causes damage over time?
Yeah, that could be fun. One of the ones on my list was an acid shot ability, like a projectile, and I think if that caused damage over time, that'd be cool. Let me just add that as a note. Nice damage over time.
Throwback to original elements, poison enemies.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can maybe find the old effects for that, make it really a throwback.
What current power has the highest DPS, and what power in the future might?
Probably the swords have the highest DPS. Um, yeah, I don't think anything could beat them, but they're melee range, they're hard to use. I would imagine the swords are going to keep that title for a while because being melee, they need a big strength to make up for the weakness of their range, and I think their strength is probably going to be damage.
So how about the Mets, huh? I have no idea what sports are doing.
It's all about the Mets.
Maybe poison arrow.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Like a poison or acid arrow.
What about a sticky pad power that keeps players or NPCs in place for 5 to 8 seconds?
We actually have a new paralysis feature in some of the new upgrades that. Sorry, dying here. The paralysis will keep enemies in place for about 5 seconds. It's not a power, but it's an upgrade that you can apply to several different powers. So that's kind of there. As for something that would keep players in place, that's a little bit harder because I don't want you to feel annoyed when you're on the receiving end of this. So that currently there aren't any ways to paralyze other players. And yeah, I'm not sure if that should be added or not.
Can you jump off of walls?
Uh, and it's like gorilla movement, so yeah. Just push off the wall to I've written up patch notes. Mac, should I post them now?
Yeah, might as well. What are your thoughts on power combinations? Web slinging plus web shot would add a new effect to both slash one of them.
We have so many powers that we can't add unique combinations for every pair in the game. I'd rather have the combinations be determined more by emergent synergies of just how they work individually as like natural effects for what is effective to combine or less effective to combine. For example, that might be the giant mode makes your other power bigger. Giant mode plus boulder lets you do really, really big boulders. That's something that we didn't specifically program in. It's just the natural way that they happen to work together. That's the kind of power synergy that I really like.
I feel like it's a lot of the same reasoning behind in elements why you can't combine things. Because we've had people ask for it's like, well, why can't I, why can't there be interactions like water puts out fire or something like that? It's like there's over 100 different abilities in the game. That's I don't even know how many times would multiply them. It gets real complicated real fast. About a turret power to throw out a couple stationary or even floating autocannons with reduced range.
Yeah, the necromancy power does that a little bit. It lets you summon ghosts that kind of act like turrets. I think a power that does that, but with more of a mechanical turret focus, would be pretty cool.
And also, I guess your pet's kind of a turret.
Yeah. It's weird to think of a pet as a turret, but like if it attacks, then yeah.
If it works, it works. This is not in this channel, but we're already asking. Oh, never mind. You already answered it. Okay, ignore me.